gorgeous friends. We are gonna talk about little reading updates because I've not been so well still. I've been reading a lot, which is a really good thing. I'm very happy about it. So we're gonna talk about what I've read. I will say a lot of them are ebooks, so I can't physically show anything, but I'm happy about that because I did have a moment of going through loads of physical books, which I still need to do because I still have way too many, and kind of neglected all the ebooks I have, but I finally got through a few of both, so I'm feeling more positive about that. I have read 167 books so far this year, which is pretty on par for me, so I'm happy about that. I've read a lot of short books as well. That's kind of where my head's been at, like able to kind of digest. So I finished 𝙃𝙧𝙧𝙀 by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That was good. It wasn't her best work, but it also wasn't her worst work by any means. Her worst work, if you're new here and you don't know, I absolutely fucking hate The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think it's absolute fucking trash. So 𝙃𝙧𝙧𝙀 was good. It was about, I'd say, 4 stars. There was something like slightly missing for me, that like, just, I don't know what it was that was missing. It was just like I needed a tad more. I think maybe if she, and I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I think maybe if she put the beginning, like the opening chapter near the end, it would have like been more impactful. So that's my thoughts on that. What I will say is I have missed deeply reading contemporary romances. Like, that's a real contemporary romance. Like, I obviously am in the publishing industry. Okay, I am in the publishing industry, but I'm also mostly in the romance industry, which is amazing and so fun. But because of that, I read mostly like fluffy romances and like all these tropes, and it's just like I love, like, my love for reading and all of that stems from coming of age contemporary lit stories, including romance. But yeah, it was nice to read a contemporary romance that was actually contemporary. Then I read Coventry Essays. These two were also, like, the last two were physical books, by Rachel Cusk. I got through that in like a day. It was really, I love Rachel Cusk. I don't think it was her best work, but I also don't think it was, again, her worst work. I love her writing style. I think she's so articulate, and like the way that she thinks out loud is very much so how I think, and so I think that's why I love and relate to her work. Then we go on to the ebooks. Literally yesterday I finished A Quick and Easy Guide to Healthy Relationships by Mariah Rose Marie. I mostly loved this, but I would say it was a 4-star for me because there was a section on, like, the thing is like it gives when you read it, it essentially comes off as a children's book. And, you know, when I was reading it, I was like, this is so like lovely, and this is something that I would give to my children, and like it's a great summary of all the themes and subjects that it touches on. But there was one part where I was like, I don't think we need to be talking about that stuff with children if this is a children's book. Because I can't, it's an ARC, so I can't remember how it's being marketed. But yeah, there was a bit where I was like, children don't need to think about this at a young age. Like, this is just a bit much for children. If it's not for children, then fair enough, but it reads like it's for children, and I think it should be for children, aside from that tiny little bit that I was thinking about. Other than that, it was really good, and yeah, I would read it to my children. Then I read Eyes on Gaza, Witnessing Annihilation by Khalid A. Beydoun. yeah, it's the thing is I have a lot of arcs on Gaza because I request, to be honest, I think they're the most requested books from on my end. You know, I get sent a lot anyway, but these are the ones that I outwardly kind of look for. And this is one I've read a lot, but this is one where it was more so a summary of what's happened since October 7th rather than the history or like how we move forward. And you know, I've read bits of books of all those subjects, and have loads on all those subjects, especially history and memoirs of Palestinians and things like that. This one was way more like, okay, this is what's happened since October 7th, but it also came from a place of like, this is like, obviously everything going on is fucking awful. It's written by a Palestinian, and also his experience as a Palestinian, not in Palestine, but mostly like 97% of the book is about a summary of October 7th. It was written really well. It's so sad, and also like there's a lot of illustrations, and the illustrations are really quite haunting. So for that reason I think it's so, I mean, aside from the context, it's very impactful and sad, and it was very good. And I think it would be really good for someone to read this if they required educating on what's been going on in the past 2 years. That's where my kind of head is at about that book. It was very, very good. Then I read Law and Order SVU Confidential. You should have seen me reading this ebook. First of all, got the arc, I was like jumping up and down. Second of all, if you don't know, Law and Order is one of my favourite shows in the whole wide world. I have a tattoo for NCIS. The next one is going to be a Law and Order one. Olivia Benson, that's my woman. Yesterday reading this, I was like, I went through every single fucking emotion possible. I was like crying at certain parts. I was like, yes, at like most of it. But it's so sad, actually. It's so sad because it's been going on for 26 years. Obviously there's a level of like, a lot of people in this series have unfortunately in real life passed away. So like if you are aware of Law and Order and the law, there was a bit on the Munchiverse, and I broke down in tears. I was like, I can't do it, because the actor who played Munch died. And there's a bit on everyone, everything. Also there's like bits in it that I didn't know about necessarily, or like I'd heard but not in the depth that I was reading it in, such as, for example, brain work, the bit where Ice-T says, I will only ever leave this show if Mariska Hargitay leaves. I started crying. I was like, I love them so bad. And there was another bit as well that made me cry, which was, it was Mariska and Diane, who my favorite fucking character ever, actually both spoke about their experiences with assault. And I didn't actually know that about either of them, I don't think. I knew a lot of the work that Mariska Hargitay has done outside of Law and Order for victims. Like I knew she had done, like she's done everything. She's created charities, she's done like actual police work, even though she's not in the law enforcement in real life. Like she's done so much, it's amazing. But I didn't know that her and Diane were real life victims, and like that made me so sad, but also makes so much sense because of what they bring to the characters. One tiny thing I'd change about it is I would put more information about Amanda Rowlands and Carisi, because I feel like Carisi especially was kind of sidelined when he's such an integral character. And like it, obviously again being a show that's been on air for 26 years, There's a lot to cover, and it covered the original stuff mostly, which I loved. But as a stan, we need to talk about Mr. 𝙃𝙧𝙧𝙀𝙧. That's my... Because Rowland's was mentioned quite a bit, so I was happy about that. But I don't also think you can talk about Rowland's without 𝙃𝙧𝙧𝙀𝙧. They're literally married. Like, that would be my one tiny little thing. But everything that this book covered was just so spot on, from like lore to like a list of like famous actors that were in it before they got famous. Like so good. It was so good. Obviously gave this a 5 stars. So I love that. And now I'm reading Girl, Woman, Other, which I'm so excited to read. This is part of a Goodreads challenge. I finished a Goodreads challenge by reading Atmosphere, and I finished a Storygraph challenge by reading Rachel Cusk. So this is my next Goodreads challenge read. And then after that, I think after that, that's all the physical books I need to read to finish the challenges. But I need to get through my physical books because I have 500. If you're new here, it's terrible. It's so bad. And it just gets worse every day. And then it's mostly ebooks that I need to get through. But because I'm reading physical books that I need to get through challenges, I'm like reading for pleasure on the aspect of ebooks, and then it's gonna swap. So I'll read for pleasure. Well, I read for pleasure on both, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to finish challenges with my paperbacks after this one. So I'll just kind of be reading whatever I want to read. But these challenges have been so good, and there being so many challenges, I've been able to kind of pick like, okay, this is what I'm in the mood for, and this will complete the challenge, etc, etc. So it's been really good in that sense, and I've so enjoyed it. And I'm still nowhere near finishing like the Storygraph challenges. There's 3, and I think I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over 10 books to read. I think maybe 12 books to read, but they're all ebooks or an audiobook for the Storygraph challenges. So there's still a lot to get through, but I know that I can do it quite easily. But yes, I'm very excited to read this. This has been on my TBR for ages. I'm so like happy to get through this. I also have a feeling, even though it's quite chunky, that I'll get through this quite quick. Like with Atmosphere, it actually took me a little while to get through it. Not because I didn't like it, but just, I don't know why, it just, there was a struggle on my end, I think. But yeah, I'm very excited to get through this. And also very excited to start reading physical books, like whichever books I want to read. And then let's have a look at my book mail. Ooh, where did I've already put that away, but that's fine. Oh no, that's not one. That's one. So I went to BookFest, and I did a whole debrief on how that shit show went down, and I got 2 books from there, which is surprising in and of itself. I got The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. Very short book, very excited to get through that. That was my #1 book that I wanted to get. And then I won Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I'm so excited to get through this. Very scary sides, if I'm being completely honest. But I did have the e-arc, but there was no way I was going to get to that in time before it expired, so very excited to get through that. So excited. I got sent The Human Design Unlocked by Alexandra Fullerton. Human design is something I've been interested in 5 years, like for 5 years, but I can't understand it for the life of me. So I think this is going to be the best way to understand it and learn about it and get through it. So I'm very excited to get to that. And finally, a charity shop find, The Traveling Cat Chronicles. I love Hiro Arakawa. I've read so many of their books. She's a cat-loving contemporary lit woman. And I've read most of her books, so I'm so happy that I found this. One of my like auto buy authors, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I'm very excited to get through that too. You can't see, but there are 50 books on my desk. Ah, it's a lot. Anyways, that's my reading update for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video, and I love you guys so much. Let me know down below what you guys are reading, and let's talk about it. Bye. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention that I also got this in book mail. America Day by Day by Simone de Beauvoir. I actually don't think I've ever read any Simone de Beauvoir, but I know quite a bit about her, so I'm very excited to read this. Also, stunning cover. So yeah, very excited.